check it.
It's
Is it
good.
okay?
Yep, good.
All right, let me get into the...
So this is being recorded right now.
Okay. Right. Okay. So, Iron Mountain, as a company, we have about 140,000 customers throughout the world. And in working with new customers who are coming on board, we run into a number of common challenges across all industries. It doesn't really matter which vertical you're in, there's some common challenges if you're running a data center. And so in talking about these common challenges, what I would like to do is basically put these challenges of an organization to a personification who we'll call Bob. And Bob is maybe you, or maybe you know Bob, or potentially Bob is a number of different people within the organization. And so one of the things that Bob is charged with in terms of managing IT, managing backup and recovery, is he's charged with taking the organization forward, keeping it productive on a day-to-day basis, as well as driving the company into the future with new solutions and just basically keeping a competitive advantage. Additionally, as part of moving into the future, Bob is also a steward of what has happened in the company in the past in terms of servers, applications, metadata, and so forth. So Bob, in terms of what he does on a day-to-day basis, he has feet in basically the past and the future. So one of the things that we can think about with Bob in terms of challenges is we can look at the ice storm that we had a couple winters ago, which caused massive power outages. And when you have a power outage in a data center, we all know what happens. Servers crash, and you need to get back up and running. So Bob's day is interrupted, and potentially more than one day, going back to the past to get the company back up and running and productive. And doing this costs a lot of money, and basically reduces revenue and eats up time, not just for the IT organization, but also for the organization as a whole. While Bob's getting things running again, the rest of the company is sitting on the bench, not doing much of anything. Another issue that incoming customers face prior to coming with Iron Mountain is stewardship of their tapes. A lot of our customers, the security on their tapes is not optimal. I see, and when I go talk to customers, I see a number of things. Anything from dropping the tapes off in the tape vault, to putting them in a laptop bag, to even leaving them in the trunk of a car during all kinds of weather. It's great that they're going off-site, but that's not the best way to do it. So in a situation like this, if an incident was to happen, going back becomes difficult because those tapes maybe haven't been stored well, or they're stored with somebody who's out sick, or they're in somebody's house who's on vacation, or even if at a bank vault, if it's after hours and the bank's closed, there's no way to get them. A final challenge that I'm seeing a lot, especially here in the Dallas market, are requests for audit as well as legal discovery. And these activities, they definitely range, but one thing that they have in common is they take up a huge amount of time. And that time that they take up can vary. It can go from a few hours in a day to, I've seen multiple weeks in terms of going through all the data that's on a tape and getting back maybe the one file that is needed for legal discovery or for an auditor. So, and looking at all this, one of the things that we're really talking about is how you can save your time, as a result save money, but also save a lot of effort. So, if you think about it, we have a lot of statistics from organizations like IDC and Gartner that indicate that between 50 and 60% of backups that are done they're just not valid backups. Not all the data that's on the tape can be pulled off. And you can also consider that we have another statistic from a different organization that says 60% of all backups fail, and there's just no data on the tape that's usable. So if you put yourself in those shoes, what you would find is that 93% or so of the organizations that can't get back up and run end up out of business within 5 or 6 years. So what if you could work with a partner that you know could get you back up and running when you needed to? And what if you could work with a partner who could provide robust chain of custody and ensure that your tapes are where they should be and handled in an appropriate manner? And what if you could work with a partner that could help you find data when you needed the data? So basically what we have here is Bob, which is a personification of the organization, and he needs to do all of these things. And we're really talking about protection and protecting the data that you have. So let me give you 3 examples. A university, a hospital, and a bank. These are 3 very different organizations, but what they have in common with your organization is that they all have a data center and they all have data that's important to the operation of their organization. So at a university, and it was here in Texas, 24,000 students' personal data was exposed, and the sheer effort to remediate that situation was immense, but in the end, $1.5 million was spent solving that. Hospital, similar story. They had protected health information stolen out of a vehicle, and it was lost, never to be seen again. And the reason it was stolen is because it was in a private vehicle and not properly secured. So we had, I believe, well, I shouldn't say we, this customer had information, I think, on something like 1.7 million patients, and they ended up spending tens of millions of dollars remediating that situation. The final one is the bank, and this is the most dramatic. $750 million, which is $750 million spent because one tape was lost. It basically had all the financial information for 12.5 million people who were their customers lost. So that's information that is just critical to their customers, and an absolute loss of reputation, money, time, not just for IT, but for the organization as a whole. So what I'd like you to consider is that as an organization, you have spent a tremendous amount of time and effort building your data center, building your servers, running your applications, tending your databases, and basically storing all that metadata so that you can use it and remain competitive in the marketplace. So what you really need to consider is taking the time to really protect this information, because protection absolutely matters when it comes to your data and what that means to running your business. So what do you think?